Welcome to the Whitetail Watch, produced by Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. This may be the most positive Whitetail Watch episode of the entire season. From what I can see here, everything's a green light. Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, the Hunt Stand app, Whitetail Institute, Research Equals Results, B3 Archery, Muddy Outdoors Tree Stands, Stealth Cam Trail Cameras, My Outdoor TV, and Hoyt. Based on what we're seeing here, this is what the rut is supposed to look like. Not only am I getting a lot of photos on my trail cameras of bucks cruising during daylight hours, but I'm getting great reports from Carson. He's been having some really good hunts. And then Amos shot a great buck a couple of evenings ago. The bucks are looking for does. And I would have to say, gosh, in recent memory, the past several years, I haven't seen all the pieces line up this well. The weather patterns look really good for the coming week. In fact, if you've got the flexibility and you haven't already got these days locked in, you might try to stretch this coming weekend into a 3 or even a 4-day weekend. Everything looks really good. The behavior is right where we want it to be. The weather patterns look good. Like I said, everything's coming together. I don't know enough about deer biology to be able to predict one year from the other what makes all this happen. What makes one year so much better than another, but we're definitely seeing it right now. So let's talk about where to sit, how to hunt this. The most obvious pattern to me right now is to hunt the travel routes, especially the ones being used by does. The does haven't gone into hiding yet. If they get badgered enough, and they soon will, they go into the thickest cover they can find. They don't like to be out where the bucks can be on them constantly, because every little buck out there, every immature buck, every buck thinks that they're going to be the main man. They're going to be the stud. And they press their case just a little too hard on these poor does. And eventually they just get so haggard from running from every single buck that comes by that they go into hiding. And they don't use the trails. They don't come out to feed. They don't do the stuff that they normally do. But they're still on those normal patterns now. So the trails that does are using, going from where they bed to where they feed, even to a lesser extent, in the areas where they feed themselves, that's where you're going to find the bucks now, because the bucks are hunting the does, and they're hunting them fairly aggressively. So you need to be where the does are. But the one thing I would say is I wouldn't press too hard on the bedding areas yet, because there's a lot of time left in the rut. There's still, 2-3 weeks left of really good hunting. And you don't want to burn out those spots too early. Because if you start hunting where the does bed, you might be able to pull that off. But if you don't, now you've put them on kind of alert. You've made it so that they're moving less comfortably in their area. In fact, they might not move at all. They might move on. Their body language is going to be, transmitted to the other deer around that there's danger. You don't want to bump the does out of their bedding areas yet. You don't want to take that risk. You never want to bump them out, but you don't want to take that risk yet because you don't have to. Really, at this time, any decent travel route will work. So you pick the ones that work the best for you, and you keep your hunting area as fresh as you can until things get tougher, deeper into the rut. Then you can be more aggressive and you can go into the areas where the does bed. My strategy is going to be, I'm not going to be hunting the fringes as much this year, but my strategy is going to be stick with the travel routes early, and then, like I said, go a little bit deeper into the bedding areas as the rut progresses, because behavior will change, and we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. I don't want to get ahead, but the buck behavior will change. Right now, they're on the hunt. They're looking for that first hot doe. They're really pressing. But then as the does start to come into estrus, more and more of them, then the bucks aren't quite as much on the prod, because they'll have does, they'll be tied up more. It gets a little bit tougher. then you've got to hunt a little bit differently than you do now. Now almost anything will work. You get out there and you get on a decent trail, and you got a pretty good chance of a buck coming by. So that's my advice for this week. I'm going to keep it really short and sweet. So hopefully you've got some time to get out and hunt here in the next few days, because this is prime time. We're going to be going full speed here, and we hope that you have every opportunity to do the same there. I appreciate you joining me, and I'll see you right back here again soon for the next episode of the Whitetail Watch, produced by Hoyt's Bow Hunting Whitetails. And remember to always dream big.